to meet you.
And this is our project. It's called Joytone, and it's a new type of musical interface that we've come up with. There's sort of like two. So in the current state of electronic musical instruments, they're not very expressive, right? All you can really do in like most instruments is play a note, and then as soon as you play the note, once you release, you lose control over sort of the way that the note sounds. You can really only get like sort of how hard you press the note, but that's about it. And on an acoustic instrument like a guitar or drums or something like that, you have continuous control, so you can bend the note up or down, you can make it sound bright or warm, or you can change the volume in the middle of when you're playing the note, which is a big thing with woodwind instruments. You start soft and then crescendo. All those things you can't do in traditional electronic musical instruments. So we wanted to make a musical instrument that had all of that capability. And so basically each one of these joysticks corresponds to a note. And depending on how you move the joystick, you can get the note to sound in different ways. So the further you press the joystick out from its center axis, the louder the note gets. Get a sort of crescendo. And also, depending on which direction you press the note in, you'll get sort of different timbral sounds, different sounding notes. So if I were to press it up like this, you get a very natural, warm triangle sound. If you press it down, you get like a fuzzy, harsh sawtooth. If you go to the left, you get a very flat, in-tuned.
How did you design that?
So, yeah, we'll get to that. And then the other way, you have two oscillators that are slightly out of tune, so they phase a little bit.
You play music?
Yes, I'm a guitarist, and David's a DJ. So you have a little bit of background in this stuff. And so you can mix sort of continuously different parameters depending on which direction you go in. So do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, so the other thing that we wanted to focus on in this project is the physical layout of the keys. So this hexagonal grid is really cool because it has some special properties. So it's isomorphic, which means that no matter where you start from, if you move in the same direction, it's the same musical distance. So it's always the same musical tempo, which means that a major chord is always the same shape. So that's a major chord. So it's way easier to learn, right? Because on a piano, all these shapes sort of manifest differently because you have white keys and black keys are different sizes, different places. They're all the same shape. So the same musical structure always manifests in the same way. So it's much simpler to learn.
Yeah, that's
so I imagine that now you're going to play.
Yes, would you like to hear too? I can play the first 10 bars.
You're killing us with expectation.
Of a Bach fugue.
Yes,
I can play some nursery rhymes. Yeah, sure. This is just a regular guitar amplifier. Your choice. All right, we'll go with the Bach.
We'll see. Probably hope so.
This I haven't not practiced before. No promises.
So how many notes can you play at the same time?
Right now it has 6-note polyphony, but
that's just a software.
Right. So
okay.
Greater polyphony is just a matter of copy and pasting the patch multiple times. Yeah. So it's at 6 right now, but and that's good for like if you want to play a 7th chord and then 2 note chords. So yeah, you can. One of the things I really like about this, coming from like a jazz musician's perspective, is there are a lot of chords that you can play one-handed on this that require multiple hands on a piano. So you can get, for example, a flat 9 chord, which is a very important chord in jazz music, which normally takes multiple hands to play every note of on the piano. You can get that all in one hand. If I were to play like that chord, that chord will take multiple hands, but because of the way that the notes are organized, musical structures that are musically regular, like chords, which always appear in stacks of thirds, or scales, which happen in typically stacks of seconds. Those things that, because they're regular in a sort of musical structure, they also become geometrically regular when you have them on an isomorphic layout like the hexagons, which isn't always true in something like a piano. So yeah, you get sort of like, it makes clear sort of the regular structured nature of music, because when you're playing, let's say you play a diminished chord, like that's just a stack of minor thirds, and musically it's very regular. It's a minor third and then a minor third, and then it's the same musical distance over and over. On a piano, those distances look different, they feel different, because the physicality is different depending on what note you start on. In our instrument, it feels exactly the same. It's always up 1 in this direction. So
Was that your insight?
So there's actually a lot of prior research on these mappings. So there's all sorts of papers on how to best organize isomorphic layouts. There was one really extensive paper that actually looked at the hexagon shape specifically and explored every possible tessellation of hexagons and notes, which is actually where we drew this specific layout from.
This concept of a sort of like balanced network of notes has been around for a really long time, actually. And
Accordions.
Accordions actually use a related but not exactly the same sort of layout. The last thing that I think is really cool about this is the fact that we're using joysticks for all the notes means that once you start playing a chord, you can then like change one note out of the whole chord but leave the rest the same, which is impossible.
Something you can do with no other instrument that's available right now. Even the isomorphic, there's only one other commercial isomorphic instrument available that I know of, and it can't do that. It's single, like it's just a key that you play just like a piano. So this really is like the summit of control and with the isomorphic layout. So we're very proud of ours.
Could you use this to teach music theory?
Yes, actually, that's so. I actually got into these layouts from the music theory side.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, when we were doing the first demo, I was just noodling around, and there's all of these sort of music theory concepts that become very clear and apparent because
Once
of the
you're playing, I think
natural
that's a
structure.
Really interesting benefit of something like
Yeah,
that.
And these lights here, they're RGB LEDs, and we could control each of them individually and set the color. So if you want to be like guided through a song, or if you are playing a note and maybe like it could show you like notes that would complete a chord, something like that. It can sort of like teach you how to play music better. We don't have that set up yet, but we can do that in the future.
It's a software concept.
Yeah.
Just like dance magic for
it's always a
instruments.
software.
Dance revolution, yeah.
Making the system, the actual box.
So there's on the inside there's 57 thumbsticks here, and they're all multiplexed and processed by a Cypress P-SOC 4, and then the data is forwarded to a Raspberry Pi, which is running the synthesis program. So there's sort of like a two-brain kind of action going on to ensure a really smooth flow of data through the system.
I'm a freshman here.
He just didn't shave today.
I had an exam this morning.
We always have one freshman in this class.